Hello everybody and welcome to the DenziBlitz. I'm your host Mike from Electric City Sentai DenziCaster, and this week we are on part 8 of our 9-part look at Tokusou Sentai Dekaranger, the very first Super Sentai that I ever watched. As a fan of Power Rangers and then Super Sentai and so on, this was my first. So as I've been going back and rewatching it, a lot of stuff ages really, really well. Some doesn't. But let's take a look here at this batch. This time we're only looking at 5 episodes because we're in the home stretch. So we're looking at episodes 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So that's Trick Room, Skull Talking, Meteor Catastrophe, Mortal Campaign, and Accidental Present. So those are our 5. One thing that I've started doing, and some people have enjoyed, and so I'm going to keep doing it. I've been kind of going through what I think are the essential episodes as we go through. If I think it's something that's truly necessary to the plot or just an outstanding episode that gives you some new insight into a character, then I'm going to let you know. Truthfully, this is a good set of episodes because one thing I'm noticing as I'm going back through, Dekaranger, it's more episodic than I remember it. But also in that same breath, it's somewhat nostalgic because the older Super Sentai shows were also very episodic and would tend to have all the plot-heavy stuff sort of backloaded. So you would get a couple of plot-important episodes sprinkled throughout, and you would have, a good bit early just to get across who everybody is. But this, like some of the older ones, is very plot-heavy on the back end. So let's start taking a look here. Episode 41 was Trick Room, where basically we start seeing some more tropes pop up in these episodes. This one is a very old gag in TV and movies, and that is the shrinking room gag, where the room is continuously getting smaller. It's the wall that's closing in and will eventually, do in our heroes. In this case, we are exposed to an alienizer who is an eraser working for one of these 2 rival mafia gangs. If the camera shakes, please don't worry, it's just one of the cats. There we go. Anyway, in this particular episode, we have this eraser who Sen-chan Deca Green goes after and falls victim to after seeing the aftermath of the alienizer taking out Don Bianco, which I think was supposed to be Don Blanco, but they probably changed it just because of the letter L. And the reason I say it's probably supposed to be Don Blanco was because his rival crime boss was Don Blacko. So, black and white, you get the idea. Anywho, interesting episode. It shows off Sen-chan's detective skills very well. It gives you another trope of detective shows and police dramas with the idea of someone visualizing the scene of the crime. And that's basically what Sen has to do. Sen-chan knows that something has happened because he's still alive. He's not dead. And so he knows there's a trick to this alienizer's technique to erase people somewhere. He just has to figure it out. And so when the rest of the Dekarangers arrive at the scene of the meeting with Don Blacko, who also has been erased, all of them go after the alienizer except for Bon, who at Sen-chan's urging, Sen can't transform. His license is busted. All he can do is communicate from this ever-shrinking room. Basically asks Ban to describe everything. And this way, Sen-chan visualizes the scene of the crime and figures out the trick. And figures out how he got teleported where he did. Interesting concept, really well done episode. Um, the shrinking room gag was a bit odd in execution. Um, there's there's my age old phrase for these shows: don't look too close, you'll see the zippers. In this particular case, um, it has everything to do with um, our heroes apparently not giving a crap about the mafia dons. Um, I get that they were bad guys, but once you figure out that this is not killing someone, but rather a trap, um, that sends these people to various rooms. Yeah, their Sin-chan's room was a wall gag on a 30-minute timer, but that's not to say that was the same case for everybody else. So that was a little plot holey to me. But beyond that, I thought it was a very fun episode. Um, Episode 42, Skull Talking. So in this one, and this one's an essential because here, realistically, the next 3 episodes are ramping us up towards the end game, and starting to lay some more foundation. Any episode in which Agent Abrera, who is our big bad for the series, appears and is in any way active, those are plot important episodes. And this is one of them. He's not active in most of the episode, but it starts setting up perhaps his end game. Basically, a monster from outer space has been planted on Earth, and is entirely capable of destroying it. But there are some remains left, and there's some particular mineral not native to Earth that is necessary for him to be able to feed and then eventually be strong enough to take out the planet. So, in that, we actually get some forensic work, which is very weird for a tokusatsu show. Essentially, what we wind up with is Swan reconstructing the face of a shattered skull, reassembling the pieces of the skull, doing some forensics, figuring out who it is, and through this, figuring out that the scientist that is helping our heroes is a fake. So, very cool to see. May sound silly. Very cool to see detective work in what is essentially a kid's detective show. But forensics is not something one necessarily expects to see out of Super Sentai, and yet we get that. We get a little bit of Agent Abrera at the very end of the episode, kind of setting up that this is part of his plan. And we wind up with a subplot with Hoji, Deca Blue's sister, who is getting married. His, unless I just really have missed something over the previous 42 episodes, his thus far unmentioned sister. So, and I didn't remember him having a sister from days gone past, so I'm imagining that it wasn't something that they beat over the head with a stick over the course of the series. Which seems, again, like something that would have been interesting for them to bring up earlier in the series, rather than here, because she actually is a considerable part of the next few episodes. She's mentioned in the next few episodes, this one and the next 2. But this one we get to see a little more of Hoji's character, and that he is cares a great deal for his family and those who are close to him. So, pretty good evolution of the character, which we're going to see what really feels like the final evolution of Hoji's character over the next couple episodes. Episode 43 is Meteor Catastrophe. Basically, the meteor with the element that the Browgles, which is the giant earth-shattering monster, literally, that's coming to Earth, or has been planted on Earth. The meteor with this element is being drawn to Earth now, not by the scientist that we dealt with last episode, or the fake scientist, but now by a second Browgle that's actually on Earth, already fully grown. and goaded into action by Agent Abrera. So we basically wind up with our heroes, the bulk of them, just trying to fight off the Browgul, which these are incredibly powerful monsters. I neglected to say this in talking about 42. So powerful that, for the most part, these things can hold their own against one or more of the combined mecha of our team. We actually see it take on Deca Bike Robo and Dekaranger Robo 2-on-1. And then in this episode, it even manages, the second one actually manages to fight off even Super Dekaranger Robo, which is the combined form of the two, and that's what beat the first Browgul. So since this monster is bringing the meteor to Earth all on its own, and the monster is so incredibly hard to stop, they're not sure that they can actually defeat the monster itself yet. They have to look for ways to stop both. So the bulk of the team stays on Earth to fight the monster. Hoji is going to go on a suicide run in Deca Wing Robo, the SWAT mode combined robot, to try and stop the meteor. But it's a suicide mission. He's not going to be able to make it back by all accounts. So Bon sneaks himself aboard Deca Wing Robo and goes with him. Very in character for Bon. Bon is obsessed with protecting his teammates. He is very much the reckless leader. A typical trait for a lot of Reds throughout Super Sentai history. Ultimately, he winds up... they wind up shooting the meteor, not destroying it. They perhaps find a weakness. Hoji's going to stay behind and ram it. Bon says yes, but Bon really means no. Ships Hoji back off to Earth and is going to do it himself, and we all think that Bon bites the big one. Hoji finally declares that Bon was his partner, which is all Bon has wanted the entire series. And I'm not sure he actually heard it. But we get a new final attack, this time from all of the mecha. Deca Bike Robo and Dekaranger Robo holding Deca Wing Robo in its cannon mode for the Deca base to fire. Kind of like the giant cannons from your various Super Sentai teams over the years. So, pretty cool episode. Again, a lot of Agent Abrera weaving his plot to make lots of money. That's one thing I think I really enjoy about him as a villain, which is they set him up as a money-grubbing merchant of death at the beginning of the series, and that's what he is. He's a money-grubbing merchant of death. He doesn't want to take over the Earth. He doesn't want to rule the world. He just wants to make money. And doesn't care who gets hurt doing it. So I like that they're staying true to that character even here. Although a growing grudge against the Dekarangers as we persist. Episode 44, Mortal Campaign. Basically, Agent Abrera brings Doggy Kruger's arch rival swordsman to Earth to humiliate and the Dekarangers, basically to embolden criminals everywhere by stealing the rank insignia of each of the Rangers one by one, including, at one point, Doggy Kruger's own. A focus episode on Kruger. We get to see the origin of his sword, D-Sword Vega, after a fashion. We get to learn more about him and his background and his swordsmanship style, which they made a big deal out of early in the series. Fun episode. Really, there's not a whole lot more to it than what I just explained. It's a really good episode for some background on Doggy, which we don't get a whole lot of throughout the series. And again, it's more of Agent Abrera continuing his plans. And like I said, whenever we see him, because we will go stretches of episodes without seeing him throughout the course of the series, it's a big deal. So, very cool with episode 44. Episode 45, Accidental Present, is the obligatory clip show. 44, technically, for the record, was our Christmas episode. All the way down to our rival swordsman saying Merry Christmas right before he would strike someone down. 45, Accidental Present, is the obligatory clip show after Christmas kind of deal. It's strange in certain ways. Basically, you wind up with a strange doll showing up, which they initially think is, with the note attached, initially think it's that someone has a grudge against the Rangers and is going to attack them. And they go, well, who could possibly hate us? And they start going through different people they have faced. No, maybe it's someone who loves us, and then they start trying to figure that out. It's interspersed with some new footage that's very amusing. Both Jasmine and Umiko thinking that they have become the object of someone's affections and trying to lure whoever it is into outing themselves. A stakeout to make sure that they're safe and see who it is, and a few different things. And Tetsu, again, going undercover as a woman, which he did more than once earlier on in the series. So, lots of flashbacks to different things. Like I said, it's a clip show. Super Sentai clip shows have been around forever. They're rarely, if ever, plot important. Most of them are not this fun, though. So, 45, not something you'd have to watch, but certainly something that would be fun to watch. So, going through, looking at these, a good little batch of 5 episodes. On the essentials list, 42, 43, 44. Skull Talking, Meteor, Catastrophe, Mortal Campaign. Because we're seeing Agent Abrera begin his end game and begin weaving his plans together, I think these 3 episodes would have to be considered essentials for the series. Trick Room, not necessarily essential to the series, but it does give us a really good look at Sen-chan's analytical mind, seeing him as a detective, and getting some more of his backstory, which can gets a little, I don't want to say creepy. You can see some tragedy in his backstory that led him where he is now. And then 45's a clip show, take it or leave it. So that is that batch of 5, which means 1 part left, folks. There's only 5 episodes to go. We're looking at Propose Panic, Wild Heart, Cool Brain, Fireball Succession, The Devil's Decabase, and Forever Dekaranger. That's our final 5 episodes as we close out Tokusou Sentai Dekaranger. Now, of course, that means in 2 weeks, we start a brand new show, and that is going to be Uchu Keiji Gavin, Space Sheriff Gavin, which I have never seen. That is one thing. Up to this point, every show we've done here on DenziBlitz, I've already seen. Gavin, I've never actually watched all the way through, and it's the very first of the Metal Hero shows. So I've always been a fan of Gavin because of some of the movies, but I've never actually watched the original show from 1982, so I'm really looking forward to that. Now I think about it, that is also going to be, I think, the oldest show we have watched thus far on DenziBlitz, now that I think about it. But we got to figure out something to watch after that, and we'd like you guys to help out. Go over to our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/ECS Network. Over there you will find a poll. This poll is completely open to the public. You do not have to be one of our patrons to vote. The next thing we're going to watch after Gavin is going to be something Power Rangers. Over the course of the last few months, I have managed to track down everything for Power Rangers that's currently out on DVD. So, what we're going to do is we want you guys to decide what era of Power Rangers we're going to pick our show from. So, it will either be the Zordon era, which means Mighty Morphin Seasons 1, 2, or 3, Zeo, Turbo, or Space. It could be one of those 6. Or It could be the post-Zordon era. So that means it would either be Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, or Wild Force. It would be one of those four. Or it could be the Disney era, which would mean Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, which might be really interesting, seeing as how we've done Dekaranger now. SPD, Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, Jungle Fury, or RPM. So that's sort of the biggest batch. It could be one of those 7. Or it could be the Saban Brands era, what we have right now, which means it would be Samurai and Super Samurai, because those are short seasons. We would just combine the two. Samurai and Super Samurai, Mega Force and Super Mega Force, or Dino Charge and Super Dino Charge. So one of those 3 arcs. You guys get to pick the era. Go over to patreon.com/ECS Network now. Do that, and you will get to pick the next era. After we pick what era of Power Rangers it's going to be from, then we are going to do a vote on our Patreon page for which specific show it will be. And that vote will only be for our patrons. So if you'd like to take part in that and help figure out what the next show we're going to watch is, become one of our patrons over on Patreon. $1, $3, $5. There's different stuff at each of those levels, and different cool bits and pieces you get to take part in here on the network. So please do check all of that out. And last thing, we're going to plug cafepress.com. So go buy a hat or a t-shirt or some such. The last thing we're going to plug is coming up on July the 29th. That's going to be at the end of this month, is the first Crayon Box adoption live stream. We would love for you guys to come over and join in. Hosts from across the ECS network, Josh and Will from Chopsaki Cinema, Chris from 8 Star Anime, my wife from Kanan and Mike's Movie Night, and then I believe even John the Body Johnson is going to show up at some point in time. So jump over and check it out and join the live stream when we hold that on Saturday, July 29th. It's 24 hours. There's a video announcement here giving you all the details. You'll find it on our YouTube homepage. So folks, until next time, I'm Mike, and we'll see you on the Blitz.